Okay,
okay.
there we go. Well, was it broadcasting without it being on record?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I was checking it. It's working.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. Group home Matt. Matt never trusted anyone. Ever since he was a kid, everyone ran out on him or died. When Matt was 17, he left the group home that he lived at and started working at a gaming joint at Fortulio's Traveling Carnival. It was a summer job for a kid to learn about buying, gambling, selling, and trading everything, from drugs to himself. He roomed with an old man named Rudy. Rudy had been a carnival worker most of his life. That was when he wasn't locked up. Old Rudy would find Matt people who would pay to screw him. Rudy also taught Matt the finer points of doing and selling heroin. At the end of the season, Matt went on his own with some connections he had acquired from Rudy, but it wasn't the same as being on the carnival route. Matt moved back to his hometown. He was 18 and did whatever he wanted until he got arrested for heroin possession. He should have been arrested for heroin trafficking. He spent the better part of his 18th year of life in jail for that charge. When he got out, he hooked up with some people that he had met in jail and a friend he grew up with, Phil. Phil and he would get high and have fun together, often for a few days binge at a time. Matt liked Phil's girlfriend Bianca and would occasionally hook her up with some dope behind Phil's back. Phil found out about this one day and left Matt and Bianca without saying a word. He ran off with Matt's main supplier, an occasional boy toy, Jimbo. Matt and Bianca ran on their own for a while. He got her into escorting and she liked having him around. She was always afraid of being alone, especially after she had an appointment. Matt rarely took her seriously, but admired the go-getter in her. He figured her to be a rich kid slumming. Even though it was the truth, she always wanted to prove him wrong. She wanted to be street. Matt had got arrested driving a stolen car filled with home furnishings. He had burglarized the client's houses while she fucked the guys in the bedroom and he and his wife shared. When Matt got arrested, he never mentioned that he and Bianca had planned the whole burglary together. Deviance. Heroin, prostitution, all the finer stuff in life if you're a deviant, which I was at a certain point in time. Let's talk about deviant art for a moment. Graffiti. Love it, hate it, it is what it is, and it's in your face. Right now I'm looking across the street and I can see Mr. Yuck face painted, like so many on the east side of Milwaukee. Somebody's really going to town with the Yuck face, and though I appreciate it for what it is, and let me just clarify this by saying I really, really love street art, graffiti, tagging. I'm a big fan. But for some reason, the Mr. Yuck faces aren't it for me. I don't. I just get too many ideas of Mr. Brainwash from the Bansky film Exit Through the Gift Shop. I don't know why. It has nothing to do with it. It's just such a. I don't know. I don't know. Other images, people are getting around here alive, with an cursive alive. I think it's beautiful. I mean, I like the fact that it's just a simple old cursive and it's like affirming. I also like seeing jet skis work up and about. For some reason, it always brings a smile to my face whenever I see one of that guy's tags or girl. I have no idea if it's a guy or girl, but I like the work. I've also been down. I don't know, been through this area for a number of years. I remember when FCR was writing, hitting up Milwaukee pretty hardcore in the late 90s, early 2000s, laying out, if it wasn't always the best looking, at least, I mean, they got up. There's something to be said for just getting up, which is what the Mystery Yuck guy's faces. I mean, he's getting up. It's just, I don't know. Is To me, it's just not it. last week I had seen a piece on a train, full train car, bombed out, a Saber piece, and Saber is one of the more upwriters that ever produced, and to see one of his cars running in the Third Ward was actually it was not the Third Ward, it was Bayview it was running through. I don't know, somewhere along there on KK where the train tracks ride over the road. This big car just passed by, and it was bombed from top to bottom, side to side, and it looked beautiful. And I mean, the letters were good and readable and just big. It's like I respect that a lot more than just getting up and going big with control. It doesn't have to be in my face every day, as long as it's when I do see it, it brings. But there's a whole lot of different schools of thought on this one, um, and take it or leave it. If you're out there doing it, I've got respect for you. My favorite one is that I like are the sticker bombs. Um, I've partaken in sticker bombing as well as appreciated other stickers. Um, and wheat paste rollouts and the whole nine. But um, stickers are my favorite. Who doesn't like stickers? I know there's something to be said about paint and all this, but I mean if you're getting up, get up. And Mr. Young, even though I don't like your work particularly, who am I? Just keep doing your thing. You know, uh, I don't know. Some of the more famousy writer or artists that I've seen lately, stuff that's been in juxtaposed, stuff like that. I'm a big fan of it as long as there's style and puts a smile on my face. Uh, I'm gonna read another story now. This one's called Come Baptism. Bianca woke up to her cell phone ringing. She hoped it was her dealer, but it wasn't. It was a client who wanted a $100 quickie. She silently cursed the man, but agreed to service him nonetheless. She knew she needed the money. Dope was in short supply since the feds hit town and started arresting anyone and everyone selling or using heroin. She made a couple calls to people she knew who did dope to see if they could get anything. The only person up at that time of the morning was her friend Carol, who had a couple of Suboxones to take the edge off, but she didn't want them. They would stop her from being able to get high later. She would do the call, then hit the ghetto on foot. She was able to find some dope like that the day before. Maybe today she'd have luck again. It seemed like years since she had gotten on heroin with her now ex-boyfriend Phil, but it had been less than a year. She never would have guessed Phil would have left her for a guy who dealt. She had hooked up with Phil's friend Matt for a while, but he got arrested months ago for burglary. She wished she still knew how to get a hold of Phil. Maybe he would have some dope. Bianca's world started to spin in a different direction when she started doing H with Phil. At that time, she was starting to make a living selling clothes that she had made. Now she had a little escort business where she sold herself to whoever would pay. Matt told her about a girl who had worked for this woman when she was out of money. Bianca worked for the woman once and realized she could do it by herself. So she posted an ad on a website, and everything was wonderful at first. She could make close to $1,000 a day, which she would blow on dope, clothes, and disposable friends. Anything to forget the faces of the old men and couples she would service. She was a star on the escort scene at first. She hated and loved the attention. She had always been a good-looking woman, but now she was getting paid for it. She never realized she had become everything she had been taught to despise. When the man got to her apartment, she drank the last sip of stale coffee she had bought 2 days ago and answered the door. And the client came in her house and said, "Hey, I want to try something different." "Oh yeah, what's that?" she asked. I want to tie you up. For $100, she asked. Well, you said I could have $100 quickie. Yeah, but you didn't tell me that you wanted to tie me up. If this is too much for you, I'll go. No, no, just make it a quick. He gave her the $100 and spared no time. He got her tied in a kneeling, praying position and gagged her mouth. You're my girl, aren't you? What's that? He pulled down the gag. Yes, I am your cute girl. The man pulled the gag back over her mouth. I'm going to baptize you, sweetheart. Bianca watched the man as he unzipped his pants and started jacking off. It took forever for the man to come, but when he did, he exploded all over her face. He made the sign of the cross with his finger and the cum sticking to her forehead. May God bless you and keep you always. Well, that story was, I don't know. It was one of the ones I wrote at that point in time, and I'm not ashamed of it. You know, it is what it is. It's not for all audiences, of course, but it is for you guys out there today. And I want to know how everybody's doing out there today. It's beautiful here in Milwaukee. It's sunny. It's optimistic. And you know what? I had a great time here on today's show. It was fun. It was something different. And I do believe I'd like to do another show someday. Maybe something along the lines of a radio play, sound effects, different people, actors' voices, that kind of thing. I'm thinking about that for a future show. Considering most of you probably found out about this show on my Facebook, if you have any ideas, hit me up on my Facebook. Tyler Rinta, Facebook. TYLERRINTA. And don't want to cut out here too early, so I'm going to read one more story. A photographer's girl. As far as I'm concerned, Bianca is the hottest girl you've ever dated, Matt said to Phil. I mean, I know that, but she comes with a lot of conditions. Dude, you're never going to have another chance at a hot girl like her. She crafted her own style. She makes her own clothes, bro. The girl makes her own hot clothes and she rocks them well. I don't think that I'm the high priority on her list. She loves you, man. She loves you. You're a great photographer, a good guy. You are my friend. Yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Phil snorted another line of H from the CD case on Matt's lap. The two had been getting high for the better part of the afternoon. They were taking nude pictures of each other and not thinking about doing anything else except for getting more heroin and maybe a little coke. They did not see themselves as having any kind of addiction or homosexual tendencies, even though they got higher together, even though they often got high together, and their clothes rarely stayed on when the two were alone. Phil's girlfriend had some concern about his drug use when she found a small baggie with a brown powdery substance on her kitchen table next to his keys. She had been concerned with his friendship with Matt, a drug-dealing friend of Phil's since the two were kids growing up in a nice South Side neighborhood. Phil always roped Matt into doing something crazy, and she feared this time would be no different. When Phil showed up at her apartment that night, she knew he was messed up. His eyes couldn't stay focused or still. He had no money to go out or do anything, and he smelled bad. She told him to take a shower and put out some of his clothes that he had left over at the house. So what'd you do today? I hung out with Matt. Did you guys get high? Just a little bit for old time's sake. Phil, you've been getting high too much lately, here with him. And I needed you to shoot my new t-shirts so I can post them to my site. Oh, baby, I forgot. I'll do it after my shower. It's late, Phil. I wanted to go out and do something, but you already spent all your money. Phil gets out of the shower and dries off. I didn't come home empty-handed. Oh, Phil, I don't want to get high again. Come on, baby. Don't you know how hard I get when I screw on that stuff? You have some of that H? Yeah, it's in my camera bag in the trunk. Go get it. I guess a couple lines of age. I guess a couple lines won't hurt. Oh man, memories, memories, memories. For years, about 7 years, I was addicted to heroin, of which I am still feeling the results of, health-wise. But that's neither here nor there. What is here is all the wasted time that was spent into just pursuing nothing. Chasing a high that was never as good as it once was, for all the different reasons, for the people that I was with at the time, and I don't know. For a while in life, all I could see was getting high. That was it. There was no other drive or desire other than to get messed up and do messed up things. Hurt a lot of people. Um, Saw a lot of different things, questionable morality. Part of me really hates that I wasted the time getting involved with some of that stuff, but some of me knows I wouldn't be the person who's here today because of it. Once again, good or bad is only objective, and I don't know. There's a lot of choices I one makes in life, and not all of them are home runs. There's a lot of stumbling, a lot of striking out before you get to where you need to be, or where you should be. I don't think anybody should be out there ruining their life or hurting themselves. But at the same time, part of me understands the allure. Uh, However, I wouldn't wish it on anyone. It's a sad existence. It's kind of crazy. One of the paintings I did see that I kind of liked and laughed or appreciated was called Peasant Brawl. Supposedly it was from 1620. Peter Bruegel the Younger. Um, it was an interesting piece. It was a woman laying down, holding her face. That was a peasant woman, and there was a bunch of peasants, and they were all fighting, and there was cards laying all over the ground. And I thought it was kind of humorous in a sad kind of way. Not that I want to see any woman get hit or anything along those lines, but I understood from like the cards all flying over the ground and the people fighting and the woman holding her face that this was a card game that went bad, and fists and the peasants brawled, and I mean it was kind of funny, but kind of sad as well. As much of this work that I do is there's a light and a dark side to everything. Right now I'm just gonna take a break here for a couple minutes, and I'll be right back with you. All right, back here again. This is Tyler Rinta, riverwestradio.com. Coming out at you from Center Street, front store window of River West Film and Video. I love the format we have here. It's, or the little place right in the window here. I don't know if you guys can see, but if you can, right out there is Center Street. Right out here is the window, and I'm looking at the people at Fuel Cafe right now. Milwaukee, East Side. It's been a number of years. I kind of left out of this area in about 2006. And I'm just now coming back. Years on hiatus, I guess. My wasted years. Anyways, what have we talked about in today's show? Accidental genius and graffiti, of which I'd almost argue is more interesting. Any street art was more interesting than that show. Not that I didn't appreciate reading the people's little stories about what they did. A particular woman, I can't remember her name and didn't write it down, of course, had done this sketches. She was a Holocaust survivor and some kind of crocheter, and she kind of got her ideas from drawing using both hands. With a pencil in each hand, she'd sketch out these faces, which had troubled her supposedly, and faces from the Holocaust, Shoah. And, I appreciated looking at her work, now more in retrospect than at the time. But once again, it just brought up questions about people with mental illness in their artwork, and I don't know. Part of me just really didn't feel it. I like I said, the Milwaukee Art Museum's a regular collection. The possum sculptures, it looks like a calliope kind of deal with some old folky music and these puppets kind of singing and dancing. For some reason, I really appreciated that. I appreciated the down-hominess. It kind of reminded me a lot of carnival life. Down in Florida, I lived in a place called Gibsonton, which is where all the carnival's winter quarter. Now, what that means is many different traveling shows have their winter camps or winter shops, winter quarters in Gibsonton, Florida. It's like the known place for that. And so, given that there's a ton of carnies in this town about 20 miles outside of Tampa, Florida, weekend nights were interesting. Days were generally filled with a lot of hard work. Well, not so much hard work, but just labor at very low rates. But we all made it. You band together and you make it and you pull something together for dinner and you have some beers and smoke some fake pot. Now, what I mean by fake pot is down in Florida, everywhere, at just about any gas station, they have this fake pot. The best for the buy was a stuff called Diesel, DZL, and $5 a jar or 3 for $10. Generally gave you about a little bit less than a gram, and per container. And it was kind of interesting. Coming up to Milwaukee, there's only one place that carries it. And it's a lot more expensive, and though it's a higher quality, it's not the same as it was when I was out there with my friends at the carnival, passing away our days, sanding down rides and refurbishing rides and, cutting off work and drinking and smoking the fake weed. Some of those days were priceless, though they had to come to an end. For me, at least, for then, I just missed home, and I got back on the road and made my journey up. And one of the things I really love is being on a Greyhound bus crossing the country. generally you find somebody to pal around with who's going your distance, and you pull together and you make things work. Um, I had a good time on my last bus trip, and I even ran into another carnival worker. The guy was like came and sat down by me and one of my single-serving friends, if you will, and we talked, and he was like, all of a sudden, he was like, we asked him where he was heading, and he was, I'm going to Kansas to work on some rides for this carnival. I can't remember the name of the show he works for, even though he gave me a phone number if I ever needed a job. But it was great. The camaraderie on that bus trip, once I found out that he was a carny and he knew I was a carny, I mean, we started BSing about different rides we put up, the state of the business. Last year was not a universally not a very good season for any of the shows, and what I mean by that is financially. Gas prices being what they are, and just traveling so much. Prices were up across the board, and many shows didn't get much of a or Christmas bonus, end of the season bonus, even to their long-term employees, which was kind of sad considering most of your long-term employees are the ones who make your show really go, but the owners couldn't really do much about that. And for them, I felt, but for us, working the shows wasn't easy on us at the end of the year. But we all made it, and as the new carnival season begins, I hope to see tip-top rides and attractions here in Wisconsin. I played the first couple shows down there with them in Bradenton and at the DeSoto Mall, and I can't even remember where the other one was. I was just there for setup. And I miss it. Like I said, I miss my friends. I miss people like Drunk Bob, who quit in Key West. Just to give you a little insight into some of the people, Drunk Bob was a good guy. I came on working with the rides in Meridian, Mississippi. And that's the biggest show of the year, where they have their annual, what do they call it? Jamboree. The Tip Top Rides and Amusements annual jamboree is in Meridian, Mississippi, and it's a fun show. The biggest show of the year, arguably, besides Plymouth. I had a great time there. I can't remember how I was going with this, but I came on with them there, and that's where I met Drunk Bob. That's where this was going. Drunk Bob, when a couple of the guys I rode down with took off for a night by themselves, me and Drunk Bob kind of hung out and, well, did what Drunk Bob and I would do, was drink. And, he was a good guy. He was like the first guy when I got there who came up and was like, hey man, whatever you need, if I can help you, I got you right here. And at that point in time, I needed it, and I looked out for him, he looked out for me, and once again, the camaraderie thing panned out. But Drunk Bob had enough of the money shenanigans and just plainly quit in Key West. We got to Key West, and I had learned a little bit about Bob along the way, and Bob had been homeless many times in his life, and he kind of knew how to work the system a little bit. He was a character, and he had enough of there not being the right kind of pay and all that, and Key West is a very okay spot for homeless people, at least for a little while, until the police get to know them. But Bob was drinking and collecting unemployment somehow, and living on $100 and something a week, or $200 a week, and he was going to make it there in Key West. And he quit the show and was just going to live on the street, and that's what he did. I've got a couple pictures of Bob from Key West, because I kept up with him for a while, and then all of a sudden he disappeared. But he had wanted to get out of there. He had grown tired of just drinking and doing nothing, and he had kind of regretted how he quit, even though he didn't regret the job he quit. Carnival life was never very an easy one, and it sounds like it used to be even more hard on the people who worked there. Days before they had bunkhouses when they were sleeping under the rides. Um, I mean, these Roughing It. That's was the name of the show when I initially came up with it, and that's all I can think about. Roughing It, getting around the country, and running out of money. These are normal, everyday, day-to-day things that happen to people. It happened to me many times because I'd always try to venture out and away from the carnival during winter quarters at night or when we weren't working, because it's just like I wanted to keep on seeing. I wanted to keep on traveling, keep on moving, and given that it was just stopped and stuck in this like stagnant poverty, I couldn't do it anymore, people. I just couldn't do it. There was a certain amount of just disgusting third world country kind of living. I mean, running sewage through the lot. Um, God knows how many chemicals in the ground just dumped or spilled or whatever. I still do miss the people, though. I miss people like Deb, Grandma Deb, and I miss JoJo with his one eye and his yes man to the boss, Al Larkey. Miss him. I miss Kmart Dave. Kmart Dave was a drunken fool, but at the same time a decent guy. Weird guy, but decent guy. Knew a lot about sports. I miss him. I miss Heather. I miss her mom, Beth. And they're fighting. I miss Owen. Oh, and his tough guy act. I miss the whole nine. They were good people. I miss working with them. But today we're on to something different here. River West Film and Video, River West Radio is looking to become an FM station. I'm excited about getting in on this. I had been walking around River West. I had gotten off on a wrong bus, and I walked past the front of the store, and I came in and hadn't seen the owner in a while, and it reminded me of a lot of things. It reminded me of the past and being a part of a different time and place. Made me happy for a while. But I asked the owner if there was anything going on because I needed to get involved in something, and he was like, "Well, you want to be on the radio? We got a meeting tomorrow." And so last week was the first meeting of here at River West Film and Video on 824 Center Street, and tomorrow night I guess there's another one. Come on down if you want to get a show or you have an idea for a show or you want to help out or I don't know. Come on down if you wanted to see what's going on. Right in the front window here we are. Shows can be about anything. I think the only thing we're not going with is copyrighted material. Now I was going to be done with just those stories there. But I think I'm going to go with one more story here before the end of my hour. Love from a Thick Chick. I originally wrote this on Thursday, March 5th, 2010. Leela was a mother of 3 beautiful children. She never asked for too much from anyone, including the children's fathers. She had a date with a man who was friends with her best friend's boyfriend. She had met the guy a few times and he seemed nice enough. Her children were going to be at her mother's house for the night. They went out to dinner. She wore a new dress that made her radiant. He didn't drink, which she liked. He talked like a gentleman and was quite handsome by her standards. He even paid for dinner. When they were on the way back to her house, he stopped at a house in the poor part of town. I just have to run in here real quick and pick something up from one of my friends for work. As he said as he left the car and walked to the house. Leela didn't think anything of his actions. She was thinking about whether or not he was into her. She wanted to have sex with him. She hadn't been with anyone in 3 years. A few skinny women walked out of the house and looked at her with fear in their eyes. Then her gentleman came out with nothing in his hands. "I thought you had to get something," she asked when he got in the car. "My friend wasn't here, like he was supposed to be, but maybe I'll come back a little later." They drove to her house. She put on some music as he excused himself to the bathroom. She checked herself out in the mirrors. She was a big girl, but cute. She slipped her panties off and sniffed them. The handsome man came out of the bathroom and followed by a cloud of smoke. "I didn't know you smoked," she said. "Only when I'm nervous." He laughed as he stood by the archway between the living room and the hallway. "Come over here," she patted on the couch. The handsome man shyly walked over to her. She kissed his neck and felt his chest. "Your heart is beating fast, baby. Don't be so nervous. I don't bite unless you want me to." She pushed him back on the couch and started to take down his pants. He grabbed for his belt. "Hold on." His crack pipe fell out of his pocket and onto the floor. She looked at it. "Were you smoking crack in my bathroom?" Leela slapped him and ripped open his shirt. She pinched his nipples real hard. "You've been a bad boy. Get on your knees. I think I should be eating my pussy. Now lick it." The handsome man did as she asked. When he could taste her cum, he asked, "Did I do a good job?" "Oh, yes, you were a good boy," she smiled at him. "Now pick up that crack pipe and get on all fours." She went into the bedroom as he got on all fours and started smoking his pipe. He looked at a portrait of Leela and her children. She came out wearing a strap-on. "Have you been bad?" Yes, he looked scared. But he laughed. There's nothing to laugh about. I'm going to make you my bitch. Now smoke that glass cock." She got behind him and stuck the strap-on in his ass. "Ow, shut up. What am I doing to you?" "Ow, that." "Smoke that pipe." He took a large hit. "What am I doing to you?" "Screwing me. You're screwing me." And on that note, I guess that will be it for the storytelling. Anyways, people, I hope you've appreciated your hour here. I know I've had a lot of fun. And I hope to do this again. Like I said, would like to do a radio play kind of show, maybe. I don't know. We'll see what the future brings. And on that note, this has been Tyler Rinta, and thank you for listening to my stories.